The cherry blossoms were falling like snow when Lee saw her again. He'd been standing outside the cafe, lighting a cigarette he didn't really want, when movement across the street caught his eye. A woman in a yellow sundress, her hair in long braids that swayed as she walked. Even from this distance, he recognized the way she moved, confident, deliberate, like she owned every inch of space around her. Sophia. The cigarette fell from his fingers. 3 years. 3 years since she'd vanished from his life without explanation, leaving only a note that said, "I'm sorry. I have to go." He'd torn soul apart looking for her, used every connection, every favor owed to him. Nothing. She disappeared like smoke. And now here she was, walking through Hanggang Park like she'd never left, like she hadn't destroyed him. Boss, Minho, his second in command, appeared at his elbow. The meeting with the... Cancel it. But the Japanese delegation. I said cancel it. Lee's voice was quiet, deadly. His eyes never left Sophia. She was sitting on a bench now, watching children feed the ducks. Alone. Or so he thought. A man approached her, tall, Western, with sandy hair. He handed her an ice cream cone and kissed her temple. Sophia smiled, that brilliant smile that used to be only for Lee, and leaned into the man's side. Something dark and violent twisted in Lee's chest. "Bring her to me," he said. Minho followed his gaze. "Boss, if she left voluntarily." "Did I ask for your opinion?" Lee's hand clenched into a fist. "Bring her to me, tonight, I don't care how." Sophia had convinced herself she was safe. Seoul was a city of 10 million people. The chances of running into Lee were astronomical. Besides, he'd probably moved on. Men like him always did. Powerful, dangerous, beautiful men who could have anyone they wanted. She told herself these lies while Dave bought them ice cream, while they watched the sunset paint the Han River gold, while she pretended her hands weren't shaking. "You okay?" Dave asked, his Korean accented but improving. "You seem nervous." "I'm fine," Sophia lied. She'd gotten good at lying over the past 3 years. Just thinking about the exhibition tomorrow. She was a photographer now, at least officially. Her work, intimate portraits of Seoul's hidden communities, had gotten attention, enough that a gallery in Itaewon was hosting her first show. Dave, a fellow artist she'd met in Busan, had encouraged her, helped her, loved her in his gentle, uncomplicated way. Nothing like Lee. Everything unlike Lee. "We should head back," Dave said, checking his watch. "It's getting late." They took the subway to her apartment in Mapogu, a small place she could actually afford. Dave kissed her goodbye at the entrance, promising to pick her up early for the exhibition setup. Sophia climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor, fishing for her keys. The door was already open. Her blood turned to ice. She should have run, should have screamed. Instead, she pushed the door wider and stepped inside, knowing exactly who she'd find. Lee sat on her worn couch, looking utterly out of place in his expensive suit. He'd changed, his face harder, sharper, like someone had carved away anything soft. But his eyes were the same. Dark, intense, burning with something that made her knees weak. "Hello, Sophia." His voice wrapped around her name like a claim. "How did you find me?" Her voice came out steadier than she felt. "I'm Lee Min-yi. I can find anyone." He stood, moving with that predatory grace she remembered too well. "The question is, why did you hide?" "I wasn't hiding." "Don't lie to me." He crossed the space between them in 3 strides. 3 years, no word, no explanation, just gone. Sophia forced herself to hold his gaze. "I left a note." "A note?" His laugh was bitter. "You left a note after 2 years together, after you knew everything about me, about my world, after you said you loved me." "I did love you." The words escaped before she could stop them. "That's why I left." Something flickered across his face, pain, anger, she couldn't tell. "That makes no sense." "It makes perfect sense if you..." A sound from the hallway cut her off. They both froze, footsteps on the stairs getting closer, Dave's voice calling her name. Lee's expression turned to stone. The man from the park. "You need to leave," Sophia said urgently. "Please, Lee, he can't see you here." Why, what's he to you? He's... Dave appeared in the doorway, stopping short when he saw Lee. Sophia, who's this? Lee's smile was razor-sharp. I'm an old friend. We were just catching up. At this hour, Dave stepped inside, protective. Sophia, is everything okay? The tension in the room could have been cut with a knife. Sophia watched Lee's hand drift toward his side, where she knew he kept a gun. Her heart hammered. Everything's fine, she said quickly. Dave, this is Lee. We knew each other a few years ago. Lee was just leaving. Was I? Lee's eyes never left Dave. I don't recall finishing our conversation. We can talk another time, Sophia said, her voice pleading now. Please. For a long moment, Lee didn't move. Then he straightened his cuffs, every inch the dangerous man she remembered. Tomorrow, he said, your exhibition, I'll be there. Lee. I'm not asking, Sophia. He walked past Dave, pausing at the door. It's good to see you again. We have so much to discuss. The door closed behind him, with a soft click that sounded like a bomb detonating. Dave turned to her. Who the hell was that? Sophia sank onto the couch, her legs giving out. Someone from my past. No kidding, he looked ready to kill me. Dave sat beside her, concerned. Sophia, seriously, who is he? She couldn't tell him. Couldn't say that Lee Min-yi ran the largest criminal organization in Seoul, that his family had controlled the city's underworld for 3 generations, that she'd loved him despite, or because of, the danger. Couldn't tell him why she'd really left. Just someone I used to know, she whispered. It doesn't matter now. But it did matter. Lee had found her, and men like Lee didn't let go of what they considered theirs. Dave stayed the night, insisting after the encounter. Sophia lay awake beside him, staring at the ceiling, remembering. She'd met Lee at a club in Gangnam 4 years ago. She'd been new to Seoul, teaching English, overwhelmed by the city's chaos and beauty. He'd approached her with confidence that bordered on arrogance, buying her a drink she didn't want, speaking English that put hers to shame. She should have known then what he was. The way people looked at him, half respect, half fear. The expensive watch, the designer clothes, the dangerous edge beneath his charm. But she'd been young and reckless and so stupid. She'd fallen for him like jumping off a cliff. For 2 years, they'd existed in their own world. He'd shown her Seoul's secrets, hidden restaurants, private clubs, rooftop gardens where the city spread out like stars. He'd been generous, attentive, intense in ways that terrified and thrilled her. He'd also been violent. Not to her, never to her. But she'd seen the blood on his knuckles, heard the late-night calls, watched men bow to him in fear. She'd known she had to leave. The question was why she'd stayed so long. And why leaving had nearly killed her. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Unknown number. Against her better judgment, she opened the message. I've waited 3 years for answers. Tomorrow, you'll give them to me, or your photographer friend will pay the price for your silence. Sophia's hands shook as she deleted the message. Lee wasn't bluffing. He never bluffed. She had to tell him the truth. Had to explain why she'd left, what she'd been hiding, the secret that had driven her away. She just didn't know if he'd forgive her, or if he'd destroy everything she'd built trying. The gallery was packed by noon. Sophia stood in the corner, nursing a glass of wine she hadn't touched, watching strangers admire her work. Photographs lined the walls, street vendors in Dongdaemun, elderly women in hanbok at Jongmyo Shrine, teenage runaways in Hongdae. 3 years of her life captured and exposed. Dave was across the room, charming potential buyers with his easy smile. He'd worn a suit for the occasion, looking proud and supportive and everything she didn't deserve. She kept watching the door. Relax, her gallery owner, Mrs. Park, said in Korean. This is your moment, enjoy it. But Sophia couldn't relax, not when she knew Lee was coming, not when every instinct screamed at her to run. The door opened, her breath caught. But it wasn't Lee, just another art enthusiast, another stranger praising her vision. Maybe he wouldn't come. Maybe last night had been enough, seeing her with Dave, realizing she'd moved on. Maybe. Stunning work. The voice came from behind her, smooth as silk and twice as dangerous. Sophia turned slowly. Lee stood inches away, devastatingly handsome in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than her rent. He wasn't looking at her. His eyes were fixed on the photograph beside them, a portrait of a young mother in Itaewon, her mixed-race child asleep in her arms. "Thank you," Sophia managed. "You always had an eye for beauty." Now he looked at her, and the intensity nearly knocked her over. "For seeing what others miss." "Lee, please, not here." "Where then?" He stepped closer, his voice dropping. "You've been avoiding this conversation for 3 years. I think I've been patient enough." "This isn't the time." "Sophia," Dave appeared at her elbow, all smiles until he saw Lee. His expression hardened. "You again." "Me again," Lee agreed pleasantly. His English was flawless, tinged with a British accent from his years studying abroad. "I was just admiring Sophia's work. She's quite talented." "Yeah, she is." Dave's arm slid around Sophia's waist, possessive. "Are you a collector or—" Lee said. His smile didn't reach his eyes. "I'm someone who appreciates rare things, beautiful things, things that can't be replaced." The double meaning wasn't lost on anyone. "Well, nice to meet you," Dave said, clearly dismissing him. "Sophia, the critic from the Korea Herald, wants to talk to you." "Actually," Lee interrupted, "I was hopping to purchase a piece. Perhaps Sophia could show me around, explain her creative process." It wasn't a request. Sophia saw the trap but had no way to avoid it. If she refused, Lee would make a scene. If she agreed, she'd be alone with him, and God knew what he'd do. "I can show you around," Dave offered. "I'd prefer the artist's perspective." Lee's gaze never left Sophia. 5 minutes, surely you can spare that." Dave looked at her, questioning. Sophia forced a smile. "It's fine, go talk to the Herald critic, I'll catch up." She could see Dave didn't like it, but he nodded and walked away, glancing back twice. The moment he was gone, Lee's pleasant mask dropped. "We need to talk, privately." "There's an office in the back," Sophia said quietly. She had no choice. Better to do this here in public than have him show up at her apartment again. She led him through the gallery, feeling eyes on them, her rich brown skin against his pale elegance, the tension crackling between them like lightning. They passed through a door marked "Staff Only" into a small office cluttered with catalogs and shipping boxes. Lee closed the door behind them. "Start talking," he said. "What do you want me to say?" "The truth." He moved closer, backing her against the desk. "Why did you leave? And don't give me that nonsense about loving me. People don't abandon the ones they love." "People do it all the time," Sophia shot back, "especially when staying means destroying them." "Destroying me?" His laugh was sharp. "Sophia, I run half of Seoul's underworld. I've survived assassination attempts, gang wars, federal investigations. What could you possibly do to destroy me?" "You don't understand." "Then make me understand." His control was slipping, anger bleeding through. 2 years, Sophia. 2 years of my life I gave you. I introduced you to my family, trusted you with secrets that could put me in prison. I was going to— He stopped, jaw clenching. "You were going to what?" He turned away, running a hand through his perfectly styled hair. "It doesn't matter now." But Sophia's heart was racing because she knew. She'd found the ring 6 weeks before she left, hidden in his home office. A diamond that could have fed a family for years. She'd put it back and pretended she'd never seen it, but it had confirmed what she already knew. She had to leave before he asked, before she had to say yes or break his heart with no. "I couldn't stay," she whispered. "Not in your world, not with what you do." Lee spun around. "My world, you knew what I was from the beginning, you didn't care." "I did care, I thought I could handle it. The violence, the danger, the constant fear. But I couldn't, Lee. Every time you left, I thought you might not come back. Every phone call could have been someone telling me you were dead. I couldn't live like that." "So you left without a word, without giving me a chance to." He stopped again, shaking his head. "You're still lying." Sophia's stomach dropped. "What?" "You're lying." He moved closer, studying her face like a puzzle to solve. I know you, Sophia, better than anyone, and this story about being scared, it's not the whole truth. Her hands trembled. He was too close, too perceptive, too dangerous. There's something else, Lee continued. Something you're not telling me. What is it? Nothing. I've told you everything. Liar. His hand came up, cupping her face with surprising gentleness. Tell me the real reason, please. The please broke something in her. Lee never said please, never begged, never showed weakness. I can't, she whispered. Why not? Because if I tell you, everything will change. And I can't go back to that life, Lee. I've built something here, something normal and safe and... Boring, he smiled sadly. Is that what you want? The photographer boyfriend with his predictable love and his gallery openings. Is that enough for you? It has to be. That's not an answer. Before she could respond, the door burst open. Dave stood there, face flushed with anger. What the hell is going on? Lee's hand dropped from Sophia's face, but he didn't step back. Didn't look guilty or caught. He looked like exactly what he was, a man who owned everything he touched. We were discussing art, Lee said smoothly. Bullshit. Dave's American bluntness cut through the tension. Sophia, what is this? Who is this guy really? I told you he's an old friend, I know, but friends don't look at each other like that. Dave's eyes moved between them. There's something you're not telling me. Sophia's phone buzzed, then again, and again. She pulled it out with shaking hands. Messages from Minho, Lee's second-in-command, 3 photos. Her apartment building. Dave's car in the parking lot. A shot taken from inside Dave's apartment. His mail on the counter, his name clearly visible. The message below read, the boss wanted you to know we're always watching. For your protection, of course. Sophia's blood ran cold. She looked up at Lee, who was watching her with an unreadable expression. What did you do? She breathed. I protected what's mine, he said simply. Dave grabbed the phone from her hand, looking at the photos. His face went white. Are you threatening me? Are you fucking threatening me? I don't make threats, Lee said. I make promises, and I promise you this, Sophia is coming with me, today, whether she wants to or not. Like hell she is. Dave moved between them, protective despite his fear. Sophia, call the police. The police, Lee actually laughed. Do you know who you're talking to? Half the police in this city are on my payroll. You're insane, Dave said. Sophia, we're leaving now. He grabbed her hand, pulling her toward the door. Lee moved like lightning, slamming Dave against the wall, forearm across his throat. Don't touch her, Lee growled. Lee, stop. Sophia pulled at his arm, desperate. You're hurting him. For a moment, Lee didn't move. Then he released Dave, who collapsed coughing. You have a choice, Sophia, Lee said, his voice deadly calm. Come with me willingly and we talk, just talk. Or refuse, and I make your photographer's life very difficult. I'm talking police raids on suspicion of drug possession, visa issues, career destruction. I can make him disappear from Korea entirely. You bastard, Sophia whispered. I've been called worse. He straightened his suit. My car is outside. You have 5 minutes to say goodbye to your boyfriend. He walked out, leaving Sophia and Dave alone in the wrecked office. Dave was still catching his breath, one hand on his throat. Sophia, what the fuck? Who is that guy? Someone I should have told you about, she said, tears streaming down her face. I'm so sorry, Dave. I'm so sorry. Sorry for what? What's happening? She couldn't explain. Couldn't tell him that Lee Min-yi was one of the most dangerous men in Seoul, that crossing him meant death or worse. Couldn't admit that part of her, a terrible, broken part, still wanted to go with Lee. Still craved the intensity, the passion, the feeling of being utterly consumed. I have to go with him, she said. What? No, Sophia, he's clearly dangerous. We'll call someone, the embassy, someone who can. There's no one who can help. She took his hands, memorizing his kind face. You need to leave Korea, tonight if possible. Get on a plane and don't look back. I'm not leaving you with that psycho. You don't have a choice. She kissed his cheek. Thank you for loving me, for making me feel normal even if it was just pretend. Sophia. But she was already walking away, through the gallery where her photographs hung like ghosts of a life she'd tried to build. Past the curious onlookers and Mrs. Park's concerned face. Out into the bright Seoul sunshine where a black car waited, engine running. Min-ho held the door open. Lee sat in the back seat, waiting. Sophia took one last look at the gallery, at Dave standing in the doorway looking devastated and confused. Then she got in the car. The door closed with a final click. Lee didn't touch her as the car pulled away, didn't speak, just watched her with those dark, knowing eyes. Where are we going? Sophia finally asked. Somewhere we can finish our conversation without interruption. He paused. And somewhere you can finally tell me about my daughter. The world stopped. Sophia's heart stopped. Everything stopped. What? She whispered. Lee pulled out his phone, showing her a photo. A little girl, maybe 2 years old, with Sophia's rich brown skin and Lee's distinctive eyes. Braids tied with pink ribbons, smiling at the camera. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? Lee's voice was soft, dangerous. Her name is Jaya. She lives in Busan with your friend Michelle. You visit every weekend. He looked at her, and there was murder in his eyes. You kept my daughter from me for 3 years, and now, Sophia, you're going to tell me why, and then you're going to pray I don't destroy everything you love for this betrayal. Sophia couldn't breathe. The car sped through Seoul's streets, but she barely noticed. Her vision tunneled to that photo, Jaya's smiling face, her tiny hand waving at whoever had taken the picture. Someone Lee had sent to spy on her baby. When, the word scraped out of her throat, when did you find out? 2 days ago. Lee's voice was eerily calm, the kind of calm that preceded violence. I had someone following you for weeks. Imagine my surprise when my investigator sent me photos of you with a child who has my eyes, my mother's nose, His voice cracked just slightly. A daughter I didn't know existed. Lee, I can explain. Explain, he turned to her, and the fury in his eyes made her shrink back. You stole 3 years from me, 3 years of her life. Her first steps, first words, first everything. What possible explanation could justify that? Sophia's hands clenched in her lap. You would have made her a target. What? Your world, Lee, your enemies, your rivals, everyone who wants to hurt you, they would have used her, used us both. The words tumbled out, desperate. I found out I was pregnant a week before the Park family tried to kill you. Remember, the ambush in Gangnam that left 4 of your men dead. Lee's jaw tightened. He remembered. I was there that night, Sophia continued. Waiting at your apartment. Min-ho called me, told me to get out, that it wasn't safe. I heard the gunshots over the phone, Lee. I heard you almost die. Her voice broke. And I realized I was bringing a baby into that nightmare. A baby who would be leverage, a weakness, a target painted on her back from birth. So you ran. So I protected her. Sophia's own anger flared. You think I wanted to leave? You think it didn't kill me every single day? But I couldn't let Jaya grow up in that world. Couldn't let her see her father come home with blood on his hands. Couldn't risk her being kidnapped, or worse, because of who you are. That wasn't your choice to make alone. Wasn't it? You would have insisted we stay. You would have promised protection, guards, security. And then one day, someone would have gotten through. Someone always gets through, Lee. You know that better than anyone. The car fell silent except for the city sounds filtering through the windows. Min-ho drove without speaking, eyes fixed ahead, pretending not to hear his boss's world crumbling. Where is she now? Lee finally asked. Safe. Where is she? I won't tell you. His hand shot out, gripping her chin, forcing her to look at him. You don't get to keep her from me anymore. I want to see my daughter. And then what? Sophia pulled away from his grasp. You swoop in, play daddy for a day, and then what? She gets attached to you, loves you, and then watches you leave for your business and maybe not come back. I won't do that to her. She deserves to know her father. She deserves to be safe more than she deserves to know you. The slap would have been kinder. Lee flinched like she'd struck him, something wounded passing across his face before the mask slammed back down. "You're right," he said quietly. "I'm a monster, a criminal, unworthy of touching something so pure." His voice turned cold. "But you're a liar and a thief, Sophia, so maybe neither of us deserves her." The car pulled up to a building in Gangnam, one of Lee's properties, Sophia realized with dread. Luxury apartments where he conducted business far from prying eyes. Minho opened the door. Lee got out first, then waited for Sophia with a hand extended. She ignored it and climbed out herself. The penthouse was exactly as she remembered, modern, expensive, sterile. Lee poured himself a drink at the bar while Sophia stood by the window, looking out at the city spread below. "I want a DNA test," Lee said. Sophia spun around. "You think I'm lying?" "I think you've lied about everything else. Why should I believe this?" "Look at the photo. She has your face." "Then the test will confirm it." He drank, watching her over the rim. "And then we'll discuss custody." "Custody?" Sophia's laugh was bitter. "You can't be serious." "I've never been more serious in my life." Lee set down his glass. "She's my daughter, my blood, my heir. Do you really think I'll let you keep her hidden away like some dirty secret?" "She's not a secret, she's a child. My child." "Our child." Lee crossed to her, each step deliberate. "You don't get to erase me from her life because you're afraid. Fear is not an excuse for theft." "This isn't about fear, it's about—" Sophia's phone rang. Michelle's name flashed on the screen. Her friend never called unless something was wrong. She answered with shaking hands. "Michelle." "Sophia, thank God." Michelle's voice was panicked. "There are men here, at my apartment. They're asking about Jaya, saying they work for her father. I didn't let them in, but they're not leaving, and I'll be right there." Sophia hung up, rounding on Lee with fury. "You sent people to Michelle's, to my daughter." "I sent people to confirm what I already knew," Lee said calmly. "They have orders not to touch the child, just to verify her existence." "Call them off, right now." "No." "Lee, please." Sophia grabbed his arm. "You're scaring her, you're scaring Michelle. Call them off and I'll—" She stopped, adding what she was about to say. "I'll bring Jaya to you, let you meet her properly. Just please don't do this." Lee studied her face, searching for deception. "You'll bring her here. No tricks, no running." "No tricks." Sophia's nails dug into her palms. "But we do this my way. Not some kidnapping, not some ambush. I tell her about you first, prepare her. And if she doesn't want to meet you, you respect that." "She's 2 years old. She doesn't get to decide." "She's a person, not property." Sophia's voice cracked. "You want to be her father, then act like one. Put her needs first, not your ego." For a long moment, Lee said nothing. Then he pulled out his phone and made a call in rapid Korean. When he hung up, he looked exhausted. "They're leaving," he said. "You have until tomorrow to bring her here." "I need more time than that." "You've had 3 years, Sophia. I've given you 24 hours. Use them wisely." He walked to the door, pausing with his hand on the handle. "Minho will take you wherever you need to go. But know this, if you run, if you try to take her and disappear again, I will find you. And this time I won't be kind." "You're not being kind now." "No," Lee agreed. "I'm being merciful, there's a difference." He left, the door closing with a finality that echoed through the empty penthouse. Sophia collapsed onto the couch, head in her hands. Everything was falling apart. 3 years of carefully constructed lies, of building a safe life for Jaya, crumbling in a single day. Her phone buzzed. A text from Lee, tomorrow, 2 p.m., don't be late. Minho appeared in the doorway. "Miss Sophia, where would you like to go?" "Busan," she said numbly. "I need to get to my daughter." The drive to Busan took 3 hours. Sophia spent them staring out the window, trying to figure out what to tell a 2-year-old about the dangerous man who was her father. How do you explain that Daddy is a criminal? That people fear him, that he's done terrible things, that loving him might destroy you? How do you explain that despite everything, you'd loved him once? Still loved him, in the broken way you love scars, permanent marks of beautiful wounds? Michelle met her at the door of her small apartment, Jaya asleep in her arms. "What the hell is going on?" Michelle whispered. "Those men, Sophia, they looked like gangsters, and they knew everything. Jaya's name, her birthday, where she goes to daycare." "It's Lee," Sophia said, reaching for her daughter. Jaya stirred but didn't wake, her small body warm and trusting. "He found out." "Jesus," Michelle ushered her inside. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know." Sophia sat on the couch, cradling Jaya. Her daughter's face was peaceful in sleep, innocent of the storm coming. "He wants to meet her, wants custody." "He can't just take her. You're her mother." "He's Lee Minyi. He can do whatever he wants." Sophia kissed Jaya's forehead. "And maybe he should. Maybe I was wrong to keep them apart." "Don't say that. You did what you thought was right." "Did I, or did I just want to keep her all to myself? To pretend Lee never existed?" Sophia's eyes burned. "She asks about her daddy sometimes. I tell her he's away, that he loves her but can't be here. What if she hates me when she finds out I lied?" Michelle sat beside her. "She won't hate you. You're her world." "But for how much longer? Once Lee entered Jaya's life, everything would change. He'd shower her with gifts, affection, all the intensity he'd once given Sophia. And Jaya would love him because children always loved Lee. He had that effect, magnetic, irresistible, consuming. Sophia didn't sleep that night. She held Jaya close, memorizing the weight of her, the smell of her baby shampoo, the soft snores. By dawn, she'd made her decision. She dressed Jaya in her favorite pink dress, the one with butterflies, did her hair in 2 puffs, the way she liked. Jaya chattered happily about nothing, unaware this wasn't a normal day. "Mama, where we going?" "To meet someone special," Sophia said, buckling her into the car seat Minho had somehow procured overnight. "Someone who's been wanting to meet you for a long time." "Is it a surprise?" "The biggest surprise," Sophia whispered. The drive back to Seoul passed too quickly. Jaya fell asleep an hour in, giving Sophia time to think, to panic, to pray she wasn't making the worst mistake of her life. They arrived at Lee's building at 1:55 p.m. Sophia carried Jaya, who was awake now and staring wide-eyed at the fancy lobby. "Mama, this is pretty," Jaya said in her mix of Korean and English. "Yes, baby, it is." The elevator rose silently to the penthouse. Sophia's heart hammered so hard she thought it might break through her ribs. The doors opened. Lee stood in the center of the room, frozen. He'd changed into casual clothes, jeans, and a simple black shirt. Trying to look less intimidating, Sophia realized. Less like a gangster, more like a father. His eyes locked on Jaya, and something in his face cracked open. Jaya, shy suddenly, buried her face in Sophia's neck. "Jaya," Sophia said softly. "Remember how I told you about your daddy, how he loves you very much but had to be away." Jaya peeked out, curious. "This is him," Sophia continued. "This is your daddy." Lee took a hesitant step forward, then another. Sophia had never seen him uncertain before. It was terrifying and heartbreaking in equal measure. "Hello, Jaya," he said in Korean, his voice gentle. "I'm very happy to meet you." Jaya studied him with those eyes, his eyes solemn and considering. Then she smiled, bright as sunshine. "Daddy," she said, testing the word, "you're very tall." Lee laughed, and it sounded like something breaking and healing at once. "You're very small, but you'll grow." "I'm big, I'm this many." She held up 2 fingers proudly. 2 years old, Lee said, kneeling so he was eye level with her. "That's very big indeed." And just like that, Sophia's heart shattered. Because she could see it, the connection forming, the recognition, father and daughter seeing each other for the first time. The love already blooming despite the years stolen. Jaya wiggled in Sophia's arms, wanting down. Sophia set her on her feet, and Jaya toddled over to Lee with the fearless confidence of toddlers everywhere. "You have pretty eyes," Jaya announced. "Like mine." "Yes," Lee said, his voice thick. "Like yours." "Mama says you love me. More than anything in this world. Even though you were away. Especially because I was away. I missed you every single day." Jaya seemed to accept this. She reached up, and Lee picked her up like he'd been doing it forever. She patted his face with small hands, examining him. "I forgive you," she declared seriously. Lee's eyes met Sophia's over their daughter's head, and the anguish there nearly destroyed her. "Thank you," he whispered to Jaya. "That's very kind." "I'm very kind," Jaya agreed. "Mama says so." For an hour, Sophia watched Lee and Jaya together. He was patient, gentle, everything she'd never imagined he could be. They read books, played with toys that Min-ho must have bought. Jaya showed him her favorite doll, and Lee listened like she was explaining the secrets of the universe. But Sophia could see the calculation behind his eyes, the plans forming. He wasn't just meeting his daughter, he was claiming her, figuring out how to keep her. Finally, Jaya yawned, rubbing her eyes. "Mama, I'm sleepy." "I know, baby." Sophia held out her arms, but Jaya turned to Lee instead. "Daddy, you hold me." Lee looked at Sophia, a silent question. She nodded, throat tight. He gathered Jaya close, and she nestled against his chest like she belonged there. Within minutes, she was asleep. "She trusts you already," Sophia said quietly. "Children are good judges of character." Lee stroked Jaya's hair with infinite gentleness. "Or maybe she knows I'm her father." "Lee, about custody." "I'm not taking her from you." He spoke without looking up from Jaya's sleeping face. "As much as I want to, as much as I think you deserve to lose her for what you did, I won't hurt her that way. She needs her mother." Sophia's knees nearly buckled with relief. "Thank you." "But," Lee continued, his voice hardening, "you're not keeping her from me anymore. I want joint custody, proper custody, legal and binding. She stays with you during the week with me on weekends, or we alternate weeks, whatever works best for her." "Lee, your lifestyle will change." He finally looked at her. "I have a daughter now, everything changes. You can't just quit the organization." "Watch me." His eyes were steel. "I've been looking for a way out for years. Now I have the perfect reason. My family will understand. And your enemies, they'll see retirement as weakness." "Let them," a dangerous smile. "I'll handle anyone who comes for my family." "My family." The words hung between them, heavy with implication. "What about us?" Sophia asked. "You and me." "There is no us anymore. You made that clear." Lee stood carefully, still holding Jaya. "But we're parents now. We'll be in each other's lives forever, whether we like it or not." "And Dave." Something dark flashed in Lee's eyes. "The photographer is your choice. I won't interfere with your personal life." He paused. "But if he ever tries to replace me as Jaya's father, I will end him. Am I clear?" "Crystal." Lee carried Jaya to the couch, laying her down gently and covering her with a blanket that appeared from somewhere. He stood over her for a long moment, just watching her sleep. "I miss so much," he said, barely audible. "Her first smile, her first steps, I can never get that back." "I'm sorry," Sophia whispered. "I thought I was protecting her, but maybe I was just protecting myself from losing you twice." Lee turned to her, and the naked pain in his eyes made her gasp. "You want to know the worst part?" he said. "Even after everything you've done, every lie you've told, I still—" He stopped, shaking his head. "It doesn't matter." "Tell me." "I still love you." The admission seemed torn from him. "I hate myself for it, hate you for making me feel this way, but seeing you with her, seeing the daughter we made together. God, Sophia, I still want you. Still want us to be a family." Sophia's breath caught. "Lee." "But we can't." He cut her off. "Too much damage, too many lies, so we'll do this the hard way. Co-parents, nothing more. You'll have your photographer and your safe little life, and I'll have my weekends with Jaya. We'll be civil for her sake." "And if I said I still love you too?" Lee's jaw clenched. "I'd say you have a funny way of showing it. I'd say love without trust is poison. I'd say—" His phone buzzed, interrupting. He checked it, and his expression changed. "Fuck." "What?" "It's Min-ho. The Park family knows about Jaya." Lee's eyes snapped to his sleeping daughter. "They're coming." "What's how?" "Someone talked. Someone always talks." Lee was already moving, scooping up Jaya. We need to leave now. Where are we going? Somewhere safe, somewhere they'll never find her. He looked at Sophia, and she saw the old Lee, the dangerous one, the killer. Get in the car, both of you. I'll explain on the way. Lee, what's happening? The Park family has wanted revenge for years. What better way than to hurt my daughter? He was strapping Jaya into a car seat that had materialized in his SUV. They've put a price on her head. 2 billion won. Sophia's world tilted. 2 billion won, that's a fortune. Every mercenary, gang member, and desperate criminal in Seoul will be hunting her. Lee got in the driver's seat. So we run, all of us together. I can't just leave. You can and you will. Lee started the engine. Unless you want our daughter dead, your choice, Sophia. It wasn't a choice at all. Sophia got in the car, just as the first explosion rocked the building.